Good morning, YouTube.
Good morning, YouTube.
Well, it's morning for us. I don't know what it is where you are.
It's a cold morning, too.
This is your cue, though. Ready?
Oh, can I do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. And why did I sing that, do you ask?
Because our topic today is specifically about a 7-day sex challenge, which we recently completed.
Yep.
And we got the idea to do this because of the marriage club that we're part of, which is part of the One Extraordinary Marriage podcast. If you want to know more about that, look it up.
Yeah.
OneExtraordinaryMarriage.com.
Yeah, and also they wrote a book called The 7 Days of Sex Challenge.
Exactly.
And so go check that out if you want to learn more about that. Then, yeah, like Aaron said, go check it out. But we're going to talk to you about our 7 Days of Sex Challenge.
Oh, and the official title today is called 7 Days
in 7 ways. So do you want me to tell them what that means, or you want to?
Well, I'll synopsis it.
Okay.
Because that title reminds me of a song I really liked when I was, younger in the 90s. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to tell you the song. It just reminded me of it. Okay, so 7 days sex challenge, which means we literally had sex every day.
Yep.
For 7 days.
Yep.
And that's the basic premise of the challenge. Mm-hmm. We put a little twist. We don't know if we're the first ones to do it, but we're definitely talking about the fact that we did it.
Yeah.
Which is that we did, for us, 7 new positions each day. Like 7 new positions, one for each of the days. Yeah.
Yeah. That was, I don't know, just a revelation that we had when we were talking about doing 7 days. And I think it occurred to me mostly because we are just really trying to stretch ourselves and reach ourselves into just challenging ourselves, and 7 days of sex challenge is already challenging enough. So I'm not sure what possessed me to do that. I think I had just mentioned that sometimes we struggle a little bit with the awkwardness of like, oh, there's a new position we could do, but then neither of us really mention it or talk about it. And that's what the sex challenges really have taught us over the years. So I guess to go back a little bit, we have done probably about 4. We've tried about 4 attempts at a 7 day sex challenge, and every time we have always learned something. We've always learned something.
One of them was actually a 14-day.
That's true.
It was actually a 14-day.
Yeah, we did. We did a 14-day challenge because we just wanted to try to mix that up a little bit. And out of that 14 days, I think we made it like 8 or 9 days out of 14. So
I want to say, it was most of it.
Yeah, and every time we've learned something new about communicating, and this time this was different. I don't know. I'd venture to say probably the best that we've ever had, just because it was so intimate, so fun.
Well, it was all that, but I think what makes it stand out that we both have realized is that it was in the midst of a lot of busyness and even some challenges.
Yeah.
Where we've allowed challenges to kind of derail us in the past, which is why those attempts all end up in not a complete 7 days, where this one did.
Yeah.
In spite of the challenges, being, just plain busyness. Like we've had so many things going on, with our children, with a marriage conference, with I can't even remember. Well, not even half of the things that we had going on.
You need me to open up some of those challenges? Talk about some of them a little bit more?
Maybe just a kind of an overview.
So, the busyness that Aaron mentioned was definitely part of it, but the reason why busyness is such an important factor in a 7 day sex challenge is because you get tired. And when you're tired and then you have stress of planning for a marriage conference or whatever it is in your life that you're planning for, but the busyness is really, it's stressful. So we end up fighting a lot when we get stressed, and we've gotten so much better at that. But the times past, we have definitely had the fights because we're tired, and now we have to try to overcome that stress. And so this time it was the busiest that we've ever been. In fact, we were saying the other day how our previous sex challenges, it made those look like a breeze compared to what we had to deal with this time. But then also something we did not expect is that I started my period a whole week early, which was not expected. And that normally, I would say before now, we would have let that derail us. We would have been like, oh, nope, done. But instead, we kept going and we found ways to make it work. And there's actually a whole podcast on that, by the way. One Extraordinary Marriage did one sometime over the last 3 to 6 months. If you look at their podcast, there's one called Sex on Her Period. So it was obviously something that impacted me enough to be okay and open enough to say, yeah, let's keep going. But then we had a kiddo with some issues, and that causes us, if your parents know, it will cause you some stress and sometimes some disagreements, and we worked through that really well. And then, yeah, like we said, that marriage conference, it was a lot of work and a lot of time and commitment, and we still just found ways to overcome that. So, I mean, I think that's the bulk, I guess, of what we were dealing with. But it was the hardest week, and yet the best week I feel like we've ever had.
Yeah, definitely. And so, going back to the marriage club that we are part of, we declared that, we
did it.
We did it.
Yeah, we did it.
We conquered our challenge.
Yeah.
And it's great. It's great. It's a great feeling, and we learned that it's actually great encouragement for others. So if you can take this as encouragement for you, or if you do something similar and you find breakthrough, let people that you care about know, because it may be encouragement to them.
Yeah. And I think the only other thing you can, of course, add, if you have anything to add, we've got a little bit of time left, but I think I do think an important thing that we've learned is this club that we're a part of. It's definitely a community of couples where we talk about everything, but the core purpose of the club is to be able to get creative and talk about different positions and that are out there. So kind of like a Kama Sutra, but in a much in a tasteful Christian manner. And for us, I think that this really grew us a lot in our communication skills, because you have to talk about the house, and if it's not going quite right, it doesn't derail you just change positions, but it makes creativity in your bedroom much more exciting, and just at a much deeper level and a much deeper intimate level. I just feel like we connected in a way that we've connected before, but it was just deeper and awesome. Yeah. So I think my point behind that is get creative with your spouse. Don't be afraid to try new positions. And
just to before we start wrapping up, the whole communication part, we talk about in all kinds of circles, marriage circles, non-Christian circles, like even in secular world, we talk about communication being the biggest, or at least one of the biggest hurdles in any relationship, specifically and especially in marriage.
Yeah.
And if you want communication to improve, you can't just say, oh, we got to communicate better. You got to be intentional. You got to take steps to make it happen. Communication is one of the biggest areas of growth.
Yeah.
That this sex challenge, at least for us, and we know for many others, has improved. Because communication is going to be key if you're going to move forward in anything, especially a challenge when you're working with more than one person.
Yeah.
And so...
yeah, because even in some of the sex challenges that we've done in the past, like even something as dumb as a fight can derail it. And what we mean by that is that you have to work through the fight to be able to have sex. You're not going to just have sex angry. I mean, I guess some people might, but we certainly can't do it. And so we have to work through that and overcome that fight to be able to be intimate. And I really feel like long term, what that's helped us do is in our intimacy lifestyle, it helps us to commit to it, because if maybe today is my last day to initiate and we got in a fight, that 7 days of sex challenge helped us to recognize, oh, like we are able to communicate and we are able to get through it. So yeah, it's a good point.
So I guess as a action step, maybe try a sex challenge.
Yeah.
Maybe at least sit down with your spouse and talk about when your next encounter is going to be.
Yeah.
When you're going to schedule that next time together, even schedule that next date. Do something to take your marriage forward at least a step.
Yeah. Yeah. Be intentional.
And as we're wrapping up, yes, we're here in our car again.
Yeah.
I think we've had cabin fever, wanting to get out of the house. We will still do some videos in the house, but as it gets warmer, because I guess we're kind of wimpy and don't want to be outside in 20-degree weather.
We tried. We were going to do it outside today, but we were out there and the chairs are all covered in snow and it's just cold.
But as it gets warmer, we have some plans to take this out on the road, do stuff that's more exciting, at least for us and hopefully for you too.
Yeah.
But to connect with us, how do you do that?
Well, first you're going to click the button to subscribe, and then if you want to email us any questions or comments, we welcome them all at asoldoutmarriage@gmail.com. That's it.
And like the videos and share them.
Yeah.
And just, not so much, support us and the channel. It's not really supporting us, but we want this to get out to others.
Yeah.
That it will help.
Yeah.
So get it out there, like it, share it, do all those cool things.
Yeah. All right, you guys have a good day. Bye.
See ya.